And we're back on the SportsMax Zone. It will be a repeat of the 2019 Gold Cup final as CONCACAF's giants Mexico and USA booked their ticket into this year's Gold Cup final. Defending champions and 11-time winners Mexico are in the final following a 2-1 victory over Canada, while the Americans had a hard-fought 1-0 victory over invitees Qatar, grabbing the win with a 86th-minute winner from Jassy Zardes. So where does that leave us? Well, defending champions Mexico looking for a 12th hole on the title, while USA looking for their 7th overall and first since 2017. Joining us now to discuss CONCACAF's Gold Cup action is no stranger to the SportsMax Zone, former Trinidad and Tobago international, Brent Sancho. Welcome.
Hey Mariah, how are you doing? And of course, hello to Chris. How are you guys doing today?
Brent, what's up, man?
Yes, good.
We're good. Chris answering on behalf of both of us. So it has been a very exciting Gold Cup run. You've been a part of the show, looking ahead with us. We're here now. Is this the final that you expected? Because I know you had a lot of love for Qatar.
Yeah, I had love for Qatar. I enjoyed watching Canada. I was rooting on Jamaica. I was patriotic towards Trinidad and Tobago. But the Gold Cup is a Gold Cup, and the Gold Cup finals is always a Mexico-USA. I think if you had asked me this question 5 years ago, I probably would have said the same thing. It's just been the Mexico and USA show, and it's simply because these two teams have always kept their distance from the rest of the chasing CONCACAF pack as it relates to their ability, their talent, and what they bring to CONCACAF. They're simply the best two teams in the region, and they have done so since inception of this tournament.
And speaking about two best teams, USA, it's no secret that they haven't fielded their strongest team. Greg Berhalter, of course, doing what he has to do via substitutions to get the better of his opponents. Talk to us about USA and how they were able to navigate throughout the Gold Cup with not a full-strength squad.
Yeah, I mean, it shows the depth that the Americans have. And listen, 10, 15 years ago when I played, I can tell you they didn't have that kind of depth. A lot of their players either came out of the MLS or these types of leagues. Now you're talking about an American team, and not just players playing in Europe, but players playing with the top teams in Europe, Barcelona, Juventus, etc. And here you have a USA quote-unquote B, and some pundits are even suggesting a C team that that's navigated its way through this Gold Cup tournament. And they haven't done that in play of showing total dominance in the CONCACAF. They've rode their luck in some occasions, i.e. the Jamaica game, for example. But what they've done is what most US teams have been built on: grit, determination, I never say die attitude. And they've found ways to get results. And a lot of the results they've been getting so far in the knockout stages have come through the substitution way. Of course, Zardes being the recent recipient of that, scoring the lead goal. But look, they've done what they feel they need to do necessary to get through, and that's what they've done. They've changed their system tactically throughout the tournament. But again, it shows the depth that the US team has going into World Cup qualifiers in a couple of months. And this final is no different for what they would have expected coming into this.
And Brent, the coaching staff spoke about, the USA coaching staff spoke about the importance of depth, especially if we really want to dent in terms of World Cup qualification and in terms of the actual World Cup, going further in the World Cup. You have to be able to develop youths and so on, the youth and so on, so that you have depth, so that you have other players you can rely on. The younger players who are coming in, they need that experience. And I think that was the reason behind the whole selection of so many youth in this Gold Cup tournament, almost as like a, I don't know, as an example, as a something out there, to try. But my question to you is, where have you seen, especially in Qatar, where the USA have fallen short? What will they need to look at coming up against Mexico? What are the changes they'll have to make if they're going to land that 8th trophy?
I think one of the things that Berhalter has, of course, discovered in the team as a deficiency, maybe particularly in the middle of the park. It's very rarely you see teams like Jamaica, teams like Qatar dominate the Americans in the middle of the park. And Qatar was very unfortunate. Of course, that ridiculous penalty miss is one of the reasons I felt they were knocked out at the semi-final stage. But they dominated in the middle of the park. And if you looked at the US throughout this tournament, it's an area where they struggled a bit. Normally, they're very, very strong through the middle of the park, and they showed some signs where they were the lesser team in some instances. But going into this final, like any final, this is a massive rivalry, as you would know, Chris, between these two nations. There's a lot of history between them. And when you talk about deficiencies going into a final, normally those things go out the window because you're talking about two teams that would be really fired up to play each other. So it's very rarely you would see shortcomings of either teams, especially teams of these of experience, of the experience that these two teams have of playing in a final. And don't forget, they played recently in a Nations League final where USA won in extra time in a game which I thought was one of the better games we've seen for quite some time between the two nations. So I expect this final to be very similar as it relates to fireworks, and looking forward to seeing the type of system and the type of approach the Americans take, because they know Mexico will be gunning for them. And
I mean, I slightly wonder, I mean, as you mentioned, the substitutions have been what has really made the difference for the US.
Yeah.
Now, is there a question, should Zardes and Gioacchini and some of these other guys be starting? Put your best foot out there in front. I mean, get Mexico on the back foot early. Is that a strategy that could be employed?
I think one thing about Berhalter, he is someone that likes to kind of keep things in a structured, mannered way. Despite the fact that he would have made a lot of tactical changes in the formation, he didn't do a lot of personnel changes. So I expect them to start more or less the same way. And I think Zardes, being the elder statesman in the team, has shown his ability coming off the bench. Of course, this is a player that Berhalter knows very well from his Columbus Crew days. So I think there's a good understanding about their role and functions throughout the team, and a lot of the players understand that. So I think Zardes is very happy being, of course, an addition coming off and creating a spark for the Americans, because they will need it at some point in the game. We do know that the Americans seem to drop in their intensity and ideas, and the substitutions has really helped them throughout this tournament.
And Brent, we can't forget the manner in which Mexico was able to overcome Canada, that match in particular, the way they beat the Canadians. On paper, do you agree that Mexico is the stronger of the two teams going into this final on Sunday?
Yeah, they're stronger as it relates to personnel. Obviously, as we said, the Americans have entered a B/C team. The Mexicans, I would suggest, is probably an A/B team. They're missing maybe two of their better players in Chucky Lozano and, of course, Raul Jimenez, who's now coming back off an injury. But that being said, the Mexican teams have been consistent throughout this tournament. I still think, Mariah, they have not shown their best yet, because in the Canada game, for long stretches of that game, the Canadians really dominated and could count themselves unfortunate for losing it in the manner that they did. But again, that being said, I'll revert exactly back to what I said a little while ago, is the fact that this is, at the end of the day, a massive rivalry between two teams that has no love for each other and have battled many times before. So I expect both teams to come with their guns blazing and to put their best foot forward. So yes, Mexico may be stronger on paper, but I think because of the rivalry and what it means to both countries, particularly this Gold Cup final, and particularly for Mexico, Mariah, because again, as I said, they lost the Nation League final. That was a bitter loss for them in the Nation League final. And it's one of the reasons why Tata Martino went with such a strong team into this tournament.
So, Brent, we're about to wrap, and you just have to answer me quickly in 30 seconds. It goes down to penalties. It's Sunday. And who wins that match in penalties?
I actually think it wouldn't reach that far, because I do feel that the Mexicans may pip this one 1-0. That's what I think will happen, but maybe not as far as penalties. I hope not. It wouldn't give me time to eat my macaroni pie and callaloo here.
All right, Brent Sancho already planning out his Sunday lunch. We go to break and we will be right back.